Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Welcome to another episode of the S'mores Podcast. As always, I am 50% of this sweet treat, Ryan Engelman.
Hi Ryan, and this is Brendan, the other 50%.
And Brendan, you brought a light energy.
Well, I gotta be kind of quiet today, Ryan, because my roommate is sleeping next door and he is a bear.
Oh yeah, that's right. This week we're doing cave film. We're doing the cave episode today.
Yeah, we're in the cave with the stalactites, stalagmites, and a bear who paid in hard cash, so I can't complain, but can't really do anything during the day nor night.
No, yeah, that's a good point. When you asked me to come out into the woods to record this week, I was a little confused, but honestly, I was just excited to get out of the house for a bit, and I'm excited to be here. It's a lot warmer in this cave than I thought it would be.
I'm glad you're happy in the woods at cave and that you got out. I could not get out because my roommate is a bear.
The contract, yeah.
Yes.
Not that you signed a roommate agreement.
I did sign a roommate agreement. It's in the contract.
The landlord will not let you move out. It has
Rent's
nothing to do
great.
with the bear. I mean, yeah, rent is great. Just free.
Then we can cut to the intro.
Oh, that's good.
Good luck tonight, and remember, have fun with it.
I thought we would start pitching random things.
Oh yeah, like a little skit at the beginning.
I say like at any moment we want to in this episode, let's just pitch an intro.
Oh, I love it.
You never know when an episode's starting, nor stopping, nor continuing.
Oh, fantastic. That's going to be an editing dream.
Yep.
Anyway, you guys, welcome to S'mores Podcast.
Welcome.
How are you feeling today, Brendan?
I'm feeling good. I got water, and it is blizzarding outside.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's coming down so
I don't
hard.
think the snow's touching the ground because the wind's going so heavy. It looks like we're in a snow globe. Like we're in a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, like a perfect fluffy snow that's coming down, and just like you know it's gonna make like really great snow banks and snowballs. Someone, a coworker the other day, was gonna try and go sledding, because the snow's just been so great lately.
Well, have you seen on TikTok? I saw people in the city because the streets were cleared out with snow, just sledding, being pulled by cars.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was really cool because the guy was smart. He put the camera on the back of the car, so you had the rope and then the cable, then the sledder, and then because of the wide angle, you could see all the buildings inside in the city.
Oh, that's a cool idea. I like the idea of the angle for the camera. Like
I was
that,
like,
'cause I'm trying to imagine. It gives like a first person.
Yeah. So like if you're looking at me, I am the sledder, but then on the side and behind me, you can see the skyscrapers and buildings because they're using a wide lens.
I love that so much. Well, the fact is we've been in this quarantine for so long that I sometimes feel as though I don't live in the city that I actually live in, that I live in just like a hipster suburb or like a little neighborhood that's not in Chicago.
Yeah, we live in like a 5-block radius.
Yeah.
That's all we live because everywhere we can go, we have to walk to living in the city. But yeah, like we went to Target last night and we were
it was such a fun Target.
elated to go to Target.
Oh,
we don't go anywhere.
I felt like an 18-year-old girl who just got to her university and going on a Target run for everything. I was so excited to go to Target.
I literally wanted to check out every piece of furniture, bowl, jar.
I don't know what it is about Target. And maybe it's the way they kind of play themselves off as like, we're kind of like Walmart, but we're not Walmart.
They're better than Walmart.
They're better than Walmart.
They know they are.
I mean, they're definitely a higher quality than Walmart, but they are in the same vein as Walmart. They exist, they provide a lot of conveniences, but then they also close down small businesses.
Yeah, like
But I like them more. It's like they're the more fun friend.
I prefer Target over Walmart. I don't know why, but I do. And then on top of it, I really don't love Target, but because we got to go somewhere and do things, it was nice. Like even though we were grabbing house supplies,
oh my God,
it was nice that we got to go and grab things.
And like there was an alarming amount of people at Target, but I mean, their practices are good at least. I mean, I felt safe.
The place is big enough that I didn't feel like crowding. Like the grocery stores always feel overcrowded because there's so much, and Target is big enough. Especially, we went to a one-story one, but the same distance away, we have that 2-story one. You usually separate people.
That 2-story one is dangerous. I love me a 2-story Target.
Well, I couldn't believe when you showed me how they get carts up the second floor. I never saw it before.
Cool. No, I'd never seen that before either because it's a 2-story Target.
It's like a baby chute, but for carts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, don't put your babies on. It actually says don't put your
babies
on.
It really does. You know people have it. I don't want to carry my baby anymore.
Yeah, it's like my baby's already in the cart. Why would I take it out of the cart if it's just going to bring the baby up with me?
Yeah.
And that's called bad parenting.
That's called Walmart parenting.
I just found out the other day that I'm going to be a father, Brendan. I found out that by an act of the great Lord himself that I am associated with a child that shall be brought into the world.
Associated, so you're not having it. Someone else is having it.
Yeah, someone else is having it, but I was asked to take on all the responsibilities of the father.
Were you asked before or after the Immaculate Conception happened?
I was asked before. A beam of light hit me in the face and said,
so you
be the father.
So you agreed to it before it happened?
Yeah, no.
That's good.
They made me sign a dad contract, a dad tract.
I was just hoping, like, God didn't come down after inseminating a woman and said, hey, you're going to be a dad now.
I mean, Brendan, is that how dads work? Brendan, is that how dads work?
Yes.
Welcome to the S'mores Podcast, everybody. We're having fun here today.
The question is, will Ryan keep this in order or Rubik's Cube this episode? So, like, mid-opening, another opening starts.
Oh, that's good.
Good luck tonight!
Yeah, it depends how much you want to put into this episode.
Yeah, no, episode 4, 3 hours to 10 hours of editing for episode 4. I really got into it.
It's gone with the wind.
It's my Citizen Kane.
It's your Citizen Kane.
Episode 4.
Citizen Kane, the podcast.
If we get past this episode and actually do episode 5 and keep up with it, this will be our longest podcast.
Yep, we did 4 episodes of the previous one.
Yep, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like we're on a roll. This year is been something, but it's also been a time for creation.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no, I've been liking January to February. Like I said last week, how like January, so like that weird interim period.
Mm-hmm. Year
finally started. Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow. 6 more weeks of COVID, but you know it happens.
It's the new the groundhog coughed. 6 more weeks of COVID.
I want to kickstart a movie or at least a trailer.
Okay.
Called, well, let me describe what I call it. It's about a groundhog, like Punxsutawney Phil, but he's also a trained and hired assassin. And it's called Punxsutawney Kills, but it's Khil. So Phil, kill.
There's a lot of layers to this title.
Yes, and if we can get Bill Murray in it, that's the win. The question is, did he play an old man cameo, or does he voice Punxsutawney?
Is Punxsutawney a character in Groundhog Day?
I think he's the groundhog.
Oh, it's the name of the groundhog?
Because I've only seen the movie once, but I believe he's trapped in the town where it happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen Groundhog Day.
It's a good movie.
I'm worried I'll be stuck in a loop of watching Groundhog Day.
I wonder how many cable channels plays Groundhog Day for 24 hours, like Christmas Story style,
but
on the second.
It's such a good idea.
That it was crowded on the second. Like there was hundreds of people there.
To see the groundhog?
Yeah, to see if he sees his shadow or not.
It's an event that people actually go to see?
Yeah, it's like a 150-year-old event, like led by a committee and everything.
But like,
they wear top hats.
But isn't a large group of people crowded around a groundhog? Isn't gonna like affect the seeing or not seeing of the shadow?
Yes, but these are the same people who trust an animal to tell 6 weeks of weather, which our local weathermen can't do still.
I think it's because people don't respect weathermen enough.
They don't, and that's the worst part. It's a science. It's just weather fluctuates.
And yeah, what you've done the research for the day might not go exactly how the day goes, and everyone gets mad at the weatherman. Like they only report, they can't control the weather.
And everything you do on TV, I can do it on an app.
That's another thing.
That comes on the phone.
You can also like just go to news websites and read about news instead of watching anchors tell you the news.
Or the Weather Channel.
Or the Weather Channel, yeah.
I mean, at the same time, though, it explains why they really love hurricanes and tornadoes and storms.
They're the Super Bowls. They're the Super Bowls of the meteorology.
Yeah, everyone has to look towards them like, this is my moment to shine.
It's the most exciting time, too, for the weather, because it's like, guaranteed work for a while. And also, the aftermath, devastating and terrible.
You brought up the big game. Do you know the big games this weekend?
Yeah, no. When you told me about that, we're not sponsored by them, but the deal that Buffalo Wild Wings had for what is it, 50 wings?
50 boneless wings.
Yeah, that's a steal, and you're right. We don't have to watch the game.
You don't have to watch the big game.
No, we can just enjoy the big game.
Yeah, big game LV could be going on, and we can just have our wings. It's LV.
Oh, my Roman numerals are
55.
bad. 55.
It was so annoying because when the big game 50 was happening, that would have just been L. So I'm like, cool, you can do super BOW big L.
Big L.
But they made it 50. The number 50.
Oh,
and then they went back to LI.
I mean, I guess it's a little here or there because it gets to a point with the Roman numerals where it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, isn't C 100 and M is 1,000 because a century and millennium?
Yeah. That sounds right.
I, V, X, L, C, and this is the most exciting part. Welcome to the S'mores Podcast, everyone. The worst opening ever, me just in order saying.
And that's going to be the first one that I choose.
I, V, I.
That's my routing number to my
yeah, right. Yeah, what's your routing number? I, V, X, I. In elementary school, when we would learn Roman numerals, I would write out my phone number, my house phone number.
Oh no! Well, I mean, it was cool. It was like it's old, ancient way of saying numbers, and like when you're learning numbers, it's not always the most exciting thing. So to be like, I can use letters to write numbers, and then you get into algebra where you're using letters in math problems, and you're like, well, now I don't want the letters.
Letters, shapes, imaginary, negative.
I mean, I remember the first time I heard about imaginary numbers, and I'm like, all right, that's not true.
Exactly. It's like, no, you're gonna put 28i.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys just hated that I asked the question, where did math come from? Mm-hmm. Like, why we do it this way, and now you're telling me there are negative imaginary numbers.
Well, there's also the thing where it's like when you would do division or long division, and you just had to like put a symbol or just write a point where it's like, oh, I just rounded up. This is just like, we just have to be as close, because it'll go on infinitely.
Oh, with the a tilde on the top of it? The Spanish math?
Yeah. And or you try to do something in a calculator, and the calculator would break because it's an infinite amount of numbers.
Yeah, what's the third? 33.3 infinite?
And you can't divide by 0.
You cannot divide by 0. You can divide by 1, but it's pointless.
Ooh.
I just thought of that.
But don't. Good
math
on you.
joke.
Man, that's two people who really don't like math too much. We're talking a lot about math today.
I used to love math. And there was a point going into...
But math doesn't love me.
Well, it was seriously a point going into high school where I wasn't comprehending like calculus and like higher algebra as well. And like there was a literal block.
It gets complex.
So, I mean, thankfully, I did really well in other subjects, but it did irritate me because I used to love math. Mm-hmm. Like I could still do like permutations, combinations, all right, but yeah, like imaginary numbers and fractions.
I mean, it's a running joke that a lot of people had in high school, that it was like when you got to the really complex math, that you're like, why am I learning this? I'm not going to use it as an adult. And the teachers are like, well, I have to teach you something that's, my job, and it's a part of the curriculum. And there are people that are going to use it, but there is a demographic of people that aren't going to use it.
That's why I never got that people who weren't going to go into math or science in the STEM
had to do the high-end math.
Why they were taking AP Calc or Honors Calc like senior year, like I didn't do that because instead I took Honors in AP English and History and arts.
You wanted to go into that.
Because that's what I went into. But I had friends who didn't go into that field at all. They went to marketing. Yeah. But they took that because they wanted the higher GPA.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing too. It's all to achieve some sort of goal, not actually for the betterment. It's like, I do this for the credit so that I can go to the college, so that then I can eventually study the thing that I want to study, and get the job that I believe I want to get because I did all this now. And also I'm 17.
Yeah. Instead, I went to get a degree that does not have a job.
Yeah, it's more of a like.
Like you can't just go into it entry level and move up. You gotta find work over time.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes, that's true, and it's a nature of the industry as well that it's like it's a marker on showing that you have a modicum of skills.
I wonder how many college graduated Americans there are who are executioners for state prisons. Because imagine that, like you go to I went to Brown for marketing, and the entry level job wanted 4 years of experience. So now I'm executioner in the state of Texas.
Oh, so Brendan, hey, it's been like 10 years since I've seen you since high school. Wow, you look good. What have you been up to lately?
Oh, working out, keto, staying away from people, euthanasia.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that? What was that other thing? What was that last thing?
Euthanasia?
Yeah. You're killing legally?
Legally, yes. I mean, it's just 9 to 5. You punch in, you punch them, you punch out.
It's just about the grind.
It's about the grind.
Sometimes I grind.
I get to wear a mask, so
Oh, they still do that at the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's with COVID.
Oh. Ooh.
I get to wear a black hood.
Oh goodness.
But thankfully,
you are truly the Reaper.
Yeah, but I mean, it's over but you can see my eyes, so you can see my green eyes, and you can see how I react every time I put the needle in them. First, I give them eyes it's gonna be okay, and then
as the light
then I remember, I don't like needles. So I'm trying to focus but stay calm and cool because this is this guy's death. I gotta do well.
Do you have to be really good at that, because what if you miss a vein and you're just both standing there and you're like.
Well, that's why we have the situation mallet. Now, the situation mallet is if I miss a vein, to make it so he dies quickly, we hit him really hard in the head.
Because that's the situation.
Yeah, that's the situation, that we missed a vein.
Hey everybody, welcome to the S'mores Podcast. This is another one of our award-winning openings. We got you again.
And this is Brendan, Brown graduate, Texas executioner.
I can't, it's wild. It's wild.
It sounds like Animaniac's bit.
Texas executioner, full-time dad.
That sounds like one of the worst comic book ideas ever. This guy it's like legal Punisher, but he kept his family.
Official state bounty hunter bakes cookies.
Walker Texas Ranger. Why haven't they rebooted Walker Texas Ranger but made him gay? Jared Padalecki's actually going to be the new Walker Texas Ranger.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, he's going to be on CW for another 5 years maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's kept a steady career with them. Just,
off and on.
Just playing good-looking guys.
2000.
Yeah.
He's been with WBCW for almost 20 years.
I think it's because they know that he's a reliable actor to lean on for projects. They know that even if you don't like Walker Texas Ranger, you like him.
Yep.
So you'll watch it for that.
And he likes to work.
He does well. I mean, like most actors, he does like to work.
It's funny because he's kind of doing pseudo soap opera now with CW.
Uh-huh.
Supernatural became a soap opera, and now I guess CW makes everything kind of a soap opera.
Once again, I can't get into that show. It's so dense.
Supernatural?
Yeah.
First 5 seasons, great. That's all you need to watch. You don't need to watch the next 10.
You might have alienated our Supernatural fans.
Well, the original ending that Eric Kripke wrote was the end of 5 if you cut out the last 10 seconds. And the last 10 seconds were added once they renewed them for 6 and 7 because they didn't have any other shows on. Everything else was being canceled.
Once again, it was a successful IP that they were using.
Yeah.
But,
while you watch 5, you're like, oh, I don't think they're actually going to do another season. They're wrapping up everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
They get into how the car's made.
The CW, I love the fact that the CW has that thing where we talked about this before because with all...
Ryan's been waiting for a package for about a week now. Was it yours?
No.
No! Our neighbors get packages every day since March 18th. It's never ours.
Well, it's so... Our neighbors are great guys, but they clearly... One, I think it's cool. I think two of them work for Venmo, which is very cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they get a lot of packages, and it messes up our package flow, and it's very frustrating.
What I don't get is how the USPS fails to ever get us our stuff. But then they get it every day, and it's the only difference is E and W for our address.
And also, they never answer the door, so they wouldn't get any of their packages without us.
Yeah, because they have a sign up in the front door saying, please put it in the back.
But yeah, the delivery person isn't going to go out of their way to put it in the back.
No. So they buzz, and like, that's the thing I really get mad about with delivery service companies and the USPS, that they says, how do you want this to be delivered? This is how I want to be delivered. Please put it on the back, please. And then, how should we notify you if we can? Here's the way you notify me. And they don't do any of it. And then they're like, hey, if we miss you one more time, we have to send it back to the place it went to.
And as frustrating as that is, and I agree with you, it can be tough sometimes. I do want to say that we understand that the USPS is very hardworking, and they've got a lot of stress with so many people getting stuff delivered because of quarantine.
I know, but at the same time, USPS is failing because it costs more. First of all, they don't have a lot of funding, but they also cost way more than UPS and FedEx, yet all three don't follow something they ask you to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky bubble. It's a tricky thing. Yeah, they're doing the best they can, but sometimes, yeah, I get you. It can be really frustrating.
I mean, there was that time I had to go and drive 30 minutes into the city to go to UPS distribution because they just kept delivering my phone to the wrong address. Finally, they had to go pick it back up from another address, but they wouldn't deliver it back to me, so I had to go back down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a malfunction on their part.
Yeah, no, I think there's a number of things that can be done better, but yeah, it's definitely not a perfect system, but it's one that it's room for improvement, but I'm glad we have it at all. Like, it would be very tough without them. All the same, delivery costs would be very expensive without them.
Oh yeah,
as
definitely.
well. But maybe that's you're getting what you paid for, maybe a bit, in the sense of that. I don't know, but
yeah, I saw a post on Reddit yesterday that he has Prime, so 2-day free shipping. But this guy's like, for 2-day shipping is free because you have Prime. If you want it for 1 day, it's gonna cost $300.
Yeah,
it's like, the guy's like, I think I can wait a day.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, well, that's an interesting thing too about delivery costs and whatnot. If you want that, it's basically the equivalent of, you want to be pushed to the front of the line, fork up, and then we'll take special care of your package.
Yeah, I know the price of like shipping is based off size and weight and
manpower
and getting everything and like distance. I understand all the intricacies of it, but sometimes you'll see a number and you're like, okay, so this thing would cost like $2 if I live in Indiana, but $5 if I live 30 miles away from Indiana. And like, you're like, okay, what changed there? What has changed to make it do that? Very odd. If you could go to anywhere in the world, but it was the hottest day of the year and 1 a.m., where would you go?
If it was the hottest day of the year and I showed up at 1 a.m.?
Yeah. Where would you go? Where would you go?
Probably Tahiti, maybe Fiji. I think if I could go anywhere, and I feel like those, because if it's also the hottest day of the year at 1 a.m., the sun is down.
But it's still very hot.
It's still very hot, but the sun is down. So it might be more manageable than if the sun was up. So...
yeah. I feel like no sun equals more manageable.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's part of the Eliminate the Sun gang.
We're anti-suns here.
Anti-suns.
Yeah.
I really don't want to be a father, Brendan. I can't be a father.
God came down and said, whoopsie daisy.
Said,
that's in the Bible.
Said, the sun is good for you. And it was like, and they went, yeah, no, that's why I had like 10 of them. No. The sun is good for you. Too many children? Really bad for you.
Sun with a U, not sun with a O.
Oh, you just said a word, God. We haven't invented the written language yet.
Yeah. No, that'd be really funny. Do I need to spell it out for you? What's spelling? God damn it. Me damn it.
Me damn it.
You know, I'm glad I made all of you, but you're pretty stupid. You know that?
Yeah.
Pretty stupid.
There's an anime series that I want to watch, and I don't talk about anime too much on here, but there's an anime series I found called Heaven's Design Team.
Okay.
And essentially
They make people?
No, essentially God's like, God is essentially the idea is like God's like making everything that existed on the earth is too complicated of a thing for just one individual to do. So I contracted out some ideas I had so that a design team could create it. So some episodes are like how a giraffe came about or an elephant, and like the like figuring out how to like construct different things. Or it's like we're gonna like the one with the elephant. They were like, we're gonna just make a gorilla, and it's like, all right, but it has to be its heart is too big right now. It has to be bigger, and it can't keep its internal body temperature cool. It's like, all right, well, we'll give it a trunk so that it can access water, and then it'll be able to cool itself off, and we'll make its skin like this. And it was like thinking about like every design choice. The funniest thing was there was a moment where they make the koala, and the koala is they're like the person who made it is like a sadistic person, and they're like this animal's gonna eat poisonous plants, and it's going to be constantly sick and riddled with STDs. All true facts about a koala that I had no idea.
Yeah, I feel like the majority of the population of koalas have chlamydia.
That is insane. But yeah, I'm thinking about checking it out. It seems like a pretty funny series. But...
You know they're gonna make a joke about the platypus.
Oh, for sure. The platypus is a cool animal in the sense that it truly is sometimes that you can tell that nature is a roll of the die. Like there is no exact like evolution and whatnot has like no rhyme or reason sometimes with it. The cards fall as they may.
Yeah, it's not about the fittest. It's just about what works in the moment.
Yeah, I mean that is the fittest. What works in the moment.
Yeah, people usually think fittest as like the strongest or fastest. It's just about the most adaptable.
Yeah, I remember learning about that and how evolution, how it takes like millions, billions of years for eventually.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Everything we said is alleged.
Allegedly.
But truthfully, God did come down and tell me to have a child.
Yeah, you just can't match anyone yet on Tinder.
No. Mm-mm. So once again, I will be giving birth to the child myself. I will be immaculate concepting myself. I will be. I'm going to.
That's a true patriarchal stance.
I'm gonna mitosis, Brendan. There will be another one of me. I will just divide like an amoeba.
Do you know sponges can reproduce without other sponges? They can do both.
Yeah, I mean that kind of undersea sea life is pretty cool in the sense that starfish can create a whole nother starfish from a sliced limb, I believe.
Yeah, you see some of those where like they're clear and you see their organs and they have tentacles and they also glow in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
You're like that has to be
jellyfish.
But like or like the weird ones like that has to be an alien.
The deep sea, like the
it's like you see.
I mean, we talked about it before. Like, I realized one clear fear in my adulthood, and that is the open ocean and the fact that we still don't know how deep it goes and how exactly we have charted so much of goddamn space, but we still have yet to understand multiple layers of the deep ocean, the ocean that is surrounding us.
Yep.
They have the advantage on us, Brendan. The ocean has more territory than we do, and if we discover something that there is like undersea intelligent life, and that they decide to take over the mainland, where did Atlantis go?
That's literally Aquaman's argument. I don't have time to deal with your earthly things. I rule over 70% of the planet.
Yeah, and that's why Aquaman gets such a bad rap. It's because everyone's jealous that he has more territory that he watches over.
Yeah, that's what people really hate about Aquaman, the territory he has claim to.
It's like a giant game of Risk, and Aquaman's winning.
I love how whenever DC Comics wants to do like a worst case what if, Atlantis always declares war on us.
Yeah, it's not always the most clever move, but it's the one they do.
I say you beat them by just blowing up every oil rig.
Oh, you're just gonna
cover all of them in oil.
You're just gonna BP this.
Yeah, we're gonna BP Aquaman. That's how we win.
Ooh.
Yeah. Operation Below Petroleum.
Ooh, Operation Better Petroleum.
Operation Fish Fry.
Oh,
it's
goodness.
oil.
Then you just one match and the whole ocean is set ablaze.
Yeah, Operation The Gulf 2.
Operation Undersea Hullabaloo.
Operation Black Midnight. Wait. That's not even related. I just want to use it. This time I get to use this one. Black Midnight.
Operation Oil Scrubbing.
I always wanted to be the one. See, if I was ever in the military...
No, not something I could see.
No, I can't. I don't want to be and I can't be. But if I could, the only job I want in the military is to be the one to name all the operations.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That'd be the best job. That'd be the
Operation Crimson Thunder.
Operation Dynamo Strike.
Operation Nation Building.
Operation Hudson Drugs.
I like Operation Lamp. You were part of Operation Lamp?
Oh yeah, I had a heavy influence in Operation Lamp. It's actually an acronym.
I like the idea that they just use a word generator for operations.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
But isn't it fun to think about there's one person just losing their goddamn mind trying to come up with new operations that sound cool?
Hey, can we stop going places and doing operations to people?
We can't say that to the operations manager.
He was like, you guys are mad that I'm like lacking creativity. How about there's just too many activity, too many operations.
Why don't we take a break on all these operations?
Yeah. Let myself, recharge, get my creative juices going. Let's call this operations, no operations.
So there's something I want to talk about today.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something that I don't think gets a lot of love. And I really want to talk about it for a little bit. We talked about it a little bit in the past, but I really want to get into it on the podcast for a few minutes.
Okay.
And it is the Mystic Knights of Tiernan. Have I told you about this series before?
No.
Okay. The Mystic Knights of Tiernan. I bring this up because this is something that I apparently was obsessed with as a small boy, when I'm probably not even 2 or 3 years old. This is a series that came out in 1996, from 1996 to 1998. It was a Power Rangers-esque show, but it took place in a supernatural mystical Ireland and followed a group of magical knights, but it was like a Power Rangers show. And what made this show so much more interesting to me was, one, apparently I was obsessed with it as a little boy, so I was like, wow, I was always a cool kid. Humble brag. And because apparently my folks were obsessed, I was obsessed with getting all the toys and whatnot for this when I was a kid.
I don't remember this at all.
Oh yeah. So the Mystic Knights of Tiernan, which is so fun to say over and over again because it's Irish as hell. But
that's why it only lasted 2 seasons.
It had only 1 season. And that season had 50 episodes.
Okay.
This series, so typically with a show like Power Rangers, they cast the American actors, but all of the action sequences are done with the footage from the Japanese original show, and then they just put that action with the voiceovers for the actors. This was the first series ever that was American produced and American acted, so all of the action sequences and whatnot were done by the same actors. So that was really big for the company as well, Saban, who did Power Rangers and Digimon and a lot of shows from when you were a kid. This went on for 2 seasons, and it was extremely popular for that short period. They had like McDonald's toys, they had Toys Line, they went on for a while, but it was so much of just like another Power Rangers show, because they even did the thing where all the characters, like, they have their transformation sequences. Halfway through, they introduce a green knight that was taken over by the bad queen and needed to be brought over to the good side. And what's so funny is, like, it's such a show that's fallen into obscurity, but had one of the highest budgets for a TV show at that time. This article that I found about it said somewhere along the lines of a 1996 Game of Thrones-esque budget, because all of the shots and filming took place in Ireland. So they had beautiful landscapes and castles. And
with American actors.
With Irish actors. But it was produced by an American corporation.
Okay.
And it's such a wild thing that I like rediscovered recently for some reason. But it just like flowed into my mind because you know your parents, they talk to you about stuff that you liked or said all the time when you were like 2 or 3. Like you have some sort of grasp of information about what you said and did at that time. like your memories go back.
Yeah. I remember things I did and what I liked. I just never heard of this.
Yeah, it's
That's why I'm
wild.
surprised you brought it up, because I've never heard of this.
Yeah, I'll show you. When the podcast is done, I'll show you the intro song because it's pretty wild. But the production values were very good for the time, but like really rough to look at CGI monsters and whatnot right now. But 50 episodes, fully live action with multiple changing sets and characters and special effects.
And what channel was this on?
This was on like the where you would find Power Rangers and whatnot. And so like I guess any sort of those channels that kids shows would be through like a Saturday morning cartoon essentially. But I just thought this was wild because it had a lot of it had a lot of interesting choices as well, because like really strong written female character who was one of the main characters. It had Power Rangers did as well, but one of the main 4 knights was black and was originally going to be Caucasian, but they changed it to black, and I thought that was like, first of all, for 1998 show, I thought fantastic, but like they all had elemental powers and but it was so funny because I watched a clip and they all have a weapon that they use that's based around an element, and some of them are melee weapons like a sword or a mace, but they all just fire lasers. That's how they fight. They just shoot lasers. And eventually the show got dropped because it was going to be trying to be picked up for another season, but it got dropped. And the budget for it went for Power Rangers Lost in Space, which some argue is one of the best like looking Power Rangers series because they still had all that leftover budget that just went into this series. So the special effects for that were wild for the time period. And a little bit of it went to Digimon, but essentially I was just like, this needs a reboot. Brendan, it needs a reboot.
I don't think it does, my dude.
It's wild though.
Doesn't mean it's good. You just said they all shoot lasers out of their melee weapons, and it costs equal to Game of Thrones for Saturday morning cartoon shows that people don't make Saturday morning cartoon shows anymore.
No, not to the level of like that late 90s, early 2000s.
Like
style.
you want Netflix to pick up 12 episodes of live action.
Yeah, because I've seen some of the Knights of Mystic Knights of Tiernan.
See, that right there is why they won't pick it up.
I thought you'd be with me because it's Irish as hell.
It's Irish as hell, but I've never heard this before. I can't guess the answers because I've never heard it before.
Oh boy!
And everyone who listens to this, please tell me if you've actually seen this.
If you've heard of the Mystic Knights of Tiernan, if you watched it or you've seen it or you had a toy as a kid, please leave something in the comments about it. This is great. It's just like, it's great because it's like a perfect time capsule of that late 90s style.
Yeah, that's the worst part. It's late 90s Ireland too, which is really like early 90s like clothing and stuff. And
Oh yeah, it's medieval, so it's a period piece.
Wait. It's not modern day?
No, it's medieval. It's like a fantasy story.
Yeah, I can see why this didn't last longer than a season.
Well, there are other series that I think were more marketable, like Power Rangers, that kept going through all of its iterations. Still going. That's why I think but Brendan, Netflix will pick up anything.
That's the problem. And like but they're not going to spend Game of Thrones money.
No, and I'm not saying they got to spend Game of Thrones money, but I've seen some of the fantasy shows that they do Netflix original budgets, and I'm thinking this is a property that you could grab the kids with as an IP again. At least I think the cool kids. No, that's all I wanted to. I just wanted to talk for a little bit.
This was a great discussion we had about the Magic Knights of Tinaganal.
Tiernan.
About the Monday Tuesdays of
the mundane
the Mortal Kombat of Mr. T's.
The 20 baseball bats in an attic.
The McDonald double decker.
No.
It sounds. If you were the person I knew, it sounds like you were on drugs one time and thought you were as a kid. Thought of this, but it's real.
Oh yeah. No. Wouldn't that be amazing if I told you all this and it wasn't real? I just had made this all up. This was another one of the openings.
It is more believable that you made this up than this wasn't that in 1996 and 1998 that when you were 0 to 2, you fell in love with a show about medieval Irish fantasy that was but Power Rangers.
I want you to, the next time you talk to my folks, watch the life drain from their faces when you bring up the Mystic Knights of Tiernan. Because apparently, when I was a kid, I forced my parents and my grandparents to remember the names of these characters. And they are like old Irish names, like Rohan, Ivar, Deirdre, Angus. And they had to remember it too. There was a line of McDonald's toys. I mean, it was in the mainstream for a short amount of time.
No, I believe it. I just don't...
I had them all.
Any recollection of this at all.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little, like... sometimes your brain opens up a door that you didn't even know was in your house, and you just get to see all these fun treasures from your past.
It's like original Zoids.
Oh, yeah.
Zoids, I watched at like 6 a.m. and I had...
Is that on Toonami?
It was on Cartoon Network in the morning.
Okay.
Toonami's at night.
Yeah. Well, sometimes Toonami went till the early morning, like it was that like super...
Yeah, but that's... No, like it was like 6 a.m.
So because it was like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that was like with the animals, the robotic
Yeah, the robotic...
animals.
But like that was the only thing about Zoids, right? Was that it was just robotic animals, but they were like, they fought, but they had like a lot of cool, like it was like gear almost, like, right? Like you could see the mechanics working when they moved and whatnot.
Yeah, it was like just giant robot fight. But it was animal based, so one guy had an eagle, one guy had a lion, one guy had a shark.
It was like Transformers, but with more steps.
Mm-hmm. And they fought just different factions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
just
great,
selling toys.
Yeah, and I mean, really, all those shows is just to sell toys, which it's okay. But sometimes the series is good. Sometimes they do take some time with the writing.
That's the funny part. Where in the '80s, that's when the theme started to. Let's make a show to sell action figures and toys.
Yeah, wasn't there? Didn't you say something once about the Reagan administration? Like they had like opened up sales for toys at some point. Like it was a thing where it's like now you could. Oh no, there was a thing where you could sell toys individually, right? Whereas like the things sold separately, and it was something due to the Reagan administration. Like they passed something about the sales of toys or whatnot. Did I dream this? Do you just explain things to me so much that now I just dream up things that you explain?
I mean, I'm going to look that up now because I want to know how Reagan dealt with Transformers, but I don't know. I don't know that answer.
Yeah, that doesn't, once again, like the Mystic Knights, that doesn't feel like something I would have just...
Well, you look this up. While you look this up, I'll go on and say, yeah, in the 80s, that's when everyone started making shows to sell toys, but some of those shows were actually good. Like Transformers was good. Parts of G.I. Joe was good. It was just funny how like you could sneak good content in these giant advertisements.
Oh yeah, Ronald Reagan instituted the deregulation of advertising at the start of the 1980s. This allowed companies to market as much as they wanted to children, leading to an explosion of new toys, cartoons, junk food, fast food, and breakfast cereals. Because rules had been set in place in the 1960s when advertisers discovered how television would be the perfect gateway to get as many products in front of young eyes as possible. This was important because children dictate so much of a family's spending. So there were rules in place that stopped businesses and companies from distributing directly to children. It's the idea where, once again, like the idea where it's like suddenly toy companies then also were like, everything is like sold separately. But the kids got to see all the kids playing
with everything together. So you had a show that was about toys, and then in between were commercials about shows of those toys. Mm-hmm. And because it was on all the time because of TV, it was constantly in front of them.
It's all about the dollar, man.
I mean,
everything.
That's Reagan.
That's Reagan. It's all about the dollar.
Reaganomics. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I get you by Reaganomics.
Yeah, Reaganomics, my dude. And Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Anything else you want to talk about today?
We should probably start the podcast.
Oh, right. Hey, welcome to the S'mores Podcast, everybody. Ryan here.
And I'm Brendan. I think that's a good one. That's
a good one. I think that's the winner.
I think that's the one we should stick with.
That's the keeper.
Okay.
Hey, good job today.
Good job.
I'm proud of us.
Me too.
Oh, thank God. Now I can finally see. You had the lights off the whole
The
time?
entire time.
The entire time. Very alarming. All I could hear was your voice and occasional laughter.
Now that sounds like you're dreaming.
I dreamt of Reaganomics.